So I'm going to share a little bit about the emotional work that I'm doing. My plan was, I had a plan, and then everything got thrown overboard because of the emotional work that I'm doing. So there's a lot of stuff coming up that I'm working with, and it is a bit overwhelming at times, and I am healing like old stress. So everything is stored in the tissue. So the tissue is the issue. So that's why I'm working on multiple multiple tools at the same time. So I'm using like a triangle. I will try to put it in here in the video to show you. So mainly I'm using 3 tools: Detox, Breathwork, and Yin Yoga at the moment. So I'm exploring this triangle. So I use the Detox. So it's if the tissue is the issue, then the tissue is tight, stagnant, dry. It's like dehydrated. And as it gets more dehydrated, as we get more acidic when we eat not so healthy foods, parts of us start to get dry and stiff, and a little bit of, you can feel that it's stiff, and you have pain. And then we start to avoid that area. So then more energies and emotions and toxins starts to store there. So if we have a minor issue somewhere, and then we start to avoid going there because it hurts, or it feels uncomfortable, or emotional, you can get emotional releases when you go there, then we start to avoid it, and then it becomes more and more energy stored there. So I use the detox. So when we detox, the strength and the health of our organs starts to rise, and our body, our tissues also starts to get dehydrated. And when the tissues gets dehydrated, whatever is stored there start to release, and then it gets easier to move in that area. If we have specific, like I'm now, when I'm working on many different levels on the tissues, I start to feel like they are opening up a little bit, and that's why things also come up, and I get an emotional response to that. It's like I feel the emotions as they are passing through my system. So that's what's happening. So I had a fantastic plan with this video. I actually had like 3 different videos planned, and then one thing didn't go as I planned, and then a lot of emotions start to come up, and then the plan, I couldn't go through with the plan, and then I started to have very high expectations of myself, and also just sitting down and doing the video felt very overwhelming, and it didn't feel nice at all. And then I realized that, oh wow, it's the stress coming up, and it's the expectations of myself, and that I had this plan, and then it didn't, I couldn't follow through with it. And then I realized that I can just also sit down and press play and just share what's happening, and that's the whole point. So that's what I'm doing now. So one of the corners of the triangle is the detox. So I work with that to dehydrate the tissue, to make them open up easier, to get more circulation, more fluids, and blood circulation and lymph circulation and things like that. And also I use the Yin Yoga. So the Yin Yoga is the slow yoga. It's the yoga where you stay in positions from everything from 1 to 5 minutes. And you do that to open up the connective tissues in different bodies parts, in different areas. And you stress the tissue a little bit to open up. And when you open up this stagnant energy, then also the circulation starts to flow, and whatever is stored there, could be toxins, could be energy, could be emotions. I mean, it's all energy, but it can also start to get released. So this Yin Yoga session that I did this morning was very, very deep, and I was able to go and open up parts, especially my hamstrings and also in the hip area. And there's a lot of stuff stored, especially in the hips. I would say most people. For me, the hamstrings are very, very tight. And when I did that, I was able to really go into a meditative state and allow whatever was coming up to come up. And since I've been doing a lot of breath work lately, I also managed to breathe through the whole session. And after the session, I also did some TRE, especially for the hamstrings. And I felt that, okay, now there's a lot of things opening up in these areas, and a lot of old memories from different things that happened in the past, and just pops up from nowhere. So I stay with them, I go to them, I allow whatever emotion that was connected to these memories to come up, and I process them, and I really was able to go to the core of the energy and to release it through my breath. And I felt that, okay, there's a lot happening now. And so I'm not very surprised that there's some kind of after stuff coming during the day now, which is good. So I'm basically feeling the things on the way out, which is fine, but it's not super comfortable when they happen. And today it also affected my day, and then I feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough because I'm quite busy, and all of just the mind talking. And the third corner that in the triangle is the breath work. So the breath work is working with the sympathetic nervous system. It's our fight and flight response. So it kind of flushes the nervous system, and it clears out, the breath work clears out unprocessed emotions and memories as well. What it also does is that with the breath work, you oxidize the body and you send a lot of energy into the system, and you also open up the torso, like with the lungs and the diaphragm. It's like the whole with the belly, so the whole torso gets like it's like a massage from the inside, and it starts to move all that heavy energy that we store in the belly and in the lungs and in the chest and in the diaphragm. Because when we get emotionally it's like when we experience life and we experience not very pleasant things, if we experience fear or anxiety or negative emotions, the breath gets affected straight away, and we start to breathe very shallow, and that affects the whole upper body, and that creates tension and stagnant energy in the whole upper body. And when you start to use the breath work, especially the one that we use, that is like a connected, conscious connected breath, so you breathe in the belly and the chest area, you start to expand these areas, and then you start to move a lot of energy. So I do the breath work 3 or 4 times per week, and I do the Yin Yoga 3 times per week, and the detox I do for a year now, so I'm not surprised that things starts to move. So it's like I'm happy about it, but it's also it's not very nice when it happens also. It's a double sword. And but it's very effective. And it feels very nice after. I know that the emotional turmoil kind of comes in waves, so they come and then they fade away. So I have like the triangle of the different tools that I use, and then in the middle I practice a lot of meditation, some energy movements, and self-regulation, like coming back to the mind, closing, like silencing the mind, realizing when the mind is active, and coming back to the breath, and letting go of the illusion that is created, like this stress and that this overwhelming feeling, like, oh, I can't get anything done. But what was really happening was that I was supposed to do this video instead of the other video that was more technical, and yeah, so now I recorded something that was more raw and more in the emotion, and that actually shares my journey. So everything is good, as it always is, but yeah, it's about learning to sail the oceans of life. Not super easy sometimes, but it's definitely worth it. I'm very happy and grateful that I get to do all this for myself. It's a true blessing. If you have any questions, please let me know. Anything about the work that I'm doing, or the tools that I use. If you would like to support us, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel or like the video. That would help a lot. We really appreciate that. And I wish you a beautiful day. Thank you.